What is up, everybody? It is the No Notes Podcast, episode 23, aka
The
the
No
Jordan
Notes
episode.
podcast.
Oh, freak, did I say no notes? Oh,
You
my
Yeah,
said,
you
goodness.
you
definitely
said No
did.
Notes.
Oh, no.
Oh, man.
Just kidding.
I ain't in the mood, yeah. I ain't hit the groove, yeah. I ain't hit a move, yeah.
This
Sam,
is
I'm
a
so
Wins a
sorry.
Win podcast.
Yeah, apologies to me.
I'm not going to. Episode 23, MJ episode. Sorry, it's still ingrained, for over a year and a half.
How many? We did like 80 something episodes, so it was a lot.
Yeah, almost 100. So, yeah. So, sorry if I did that to you guys. It is a win podcast. Sam Cookie has joined us, unfortunately, and we do have H Double, the man, the myth, the legend, aka
thank you.
Sasquatch. We love him.
Fair.
We are pretty excited today. We're not talking about basketball, but we are talking about MJ's other sport, which is what?
Ooh, okay. That was a kind of a fire transition.
Well, no one's answered the question.
Let me
What's his
not
other sport?
pull a Sam here from the episode where we talked about Dame. He played baseball. Good sir.
Oh,
Okay,
nice job.
Well, I need you
And
to elaborate
what team
then,
did he play
Charles.
for?
Yeah,
What
what
team did he play for?
I'm pretty sure he played for the White Sox.
Okay.
We have a winner. It is
Come on, I know
Charles.
enough about MJ to know that. I gotta at least know what team he played for.
The highlights of him playing on the White Sox are pretty legendary too, I think. So
It's still such a confusing incident about him going to play baseball. It just doesn't
I
even seem like
know,
it
it's-
actually happened. But
it's pretty awesome though. I love the drama.
you
love the
do.
drama, bro.
Him and Bo Jackson, I think, are the two best dual sport athletes.
Oh, Bo Jackson, 100%, hands down, number one,
Mhm.
hands down.
That's fair.
But, anyways, so we're gonna be talking about the MLB. We're gonna talk about the home run derby that just happened, and then we'll talk about second half MLB, kind of our predictions / what we're looking forward to, and then for the third segment, it is the return of MattyB's Bets. So I'm pretty excited for that. I think it'll be pretty awesome. We do have results from our MLB fantasy draft, and there were no surprises. The winner was Sam, but that does help when you get 5 of the best teams out of 10 picks. And then Charles was the opposite. He had 4 out of 10 worst teams, and he was the loser. So, Charles, we'll have a punishment coming up. Sam and I have till the next episode to decide it. So
Spare me.
we will make sure it's a good one, but not too much because, this was more random, so
That's true.
that is
I made like the easiest punishment. I suggested it to Matt, and Matt was like, "That's too harsh." I forget
Well, yeah.
what exactly I suggested. But
you said this was his
oh
per
no,
exact
yeah,
words.
I said no playing Clash of Clans for a week, and you're like, "Oh, that's a
Yeah.
little too much."
Exactly.
I
I
would
don't
just
know.
like to give a quick shout out to everyone who did vote and that I got 0 best team votes. I think that's pretty well deserved. But I thought it was pretty funny because on Matt's poll, you and Sam each got a vote, and then you each got a vote for worst team. So I actually didn't even get a single
Yeah.
vote. So I was technically not the worst on Matt's poll. I was like, I guess second, tied for second. I don't know.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, because technically Sam and I had both the best team and the worst team, which is kind of funny. So
for some reason, yeah, I thought that was pretty weird when you posted about that too.
I deserve it. I didn't expect to win. So especially after getting the Rockies, the Royals,
The Royals, the
Nationals,
A's.
and the Athletics. So
Yeah, don't you worry though, Charles. We got a spicy punishment coming up for you in the next.
look how your punishment has turned out. Look how happy you are now. I see you at
It's
work
not-
on some, so I see it's a break from your work.
It did actually,
on.
yeah. Your plan
So.
did work. I mean, you guys did want me to get back on Clash of Clans. I haven't put it back down yet.
You got to spare me a little.
Oh,
We gave you more of a
and Sam-
punishment.
And just to let you know, Sam did win his Clash of Clans War League attack. He got 3 stars, so
I
Sam was
did.
putting in the work.
Yeah. Well, I don't give you too much credit though. I attacked the worst pace on accident. I still got 3 stars though, so
Yeah, you did,
Win's
and
a
that's all that
win.
matters.
Yeah,
Hey, a win's a win, you know?
that's right.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
But does anyone have any other comments before we move on to the home run derby?
I'll just say that we'll have a spicy punishment coming down the pipeline for Charles. We expect to make a decision on the next episode. Hopefully, I can spoil it. We want to try to have a movie Monday next episode, and we will have a grand reveal for that. And Charles is pretty anxious for that day.
Well, real quick, when you say
I know what's
spicy
coming
punishment,
soon.
is that literal or you just playing
No,
mind
no,
games here?
yeah, I just want to have some like good play on words.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, don't worry, Charles. We'll come up with something. Wink, wink.
Are you suggesting something? Maybe
Maybe.
maybe like a one chip challenge or
Oh my God.
that
That is
don't know.
harsh.
that would
That
be
is
pretty bad.
harsh.
Yeah,
That is kind of harsh for like I said, the MLB draft was not Charles's fault. So
right. Yeah, that and compared to my punishment being playing a video game for a week.
yeah, that's why
That's so
I think we'll come up
bad.
with something that's like in between, you know, something in
Right.
between. So
Right. Yeah. We'll think on ideas like that and we'll let you guys know next episode. But yeah,
but with no
we'll
further ado, it looks like we're going to go into the home run derby. And
yes.
I have talked already too much in this intro. So
Okay.
Sam or Charles, give us your thoughts on it and everything, and then we can go from there.
Okay.
However, I did think this one was a pretty dang good home run derby. Anyways, keep going.
Yeah, I'll give my thoughts on it. It was very fun, I thought too. I love the kind of the roster of the players competing. Like Arena, he's an awesome personality to play. There's kind of lesser known guys that are really big power hitters, like Adolis Garcia and Luis Robert. They did pretty good too. Personally, I was really rooting for Adley Rutschman. He did amazing in the first round. He was definitely the most talented, I think, but kind of got blown out of the water, which sucked to see, but it was still a lot of fun. Um, yeah, having it take place in Seattle too, that was kind of a cool atmosphere to have a home run derby. Um, yeah, it was just fun to watch. It's kind of sad that Arena didn't clutch up and win in the finals, but that's okay.
I actually was able to watch pretty much the entire thing. And so I feel like I had a good sense of what happened. And I just want to say this as like an opening statement. My arms felt tired watching them, and just my whole body in general just felt tired watching them. Because I don't think people maybe, necessarily realize how hard it is to swing that many times and that amount of, like, was it 3 minutes to swing that much and be swinging that, hard to hit home runs? It's really tiring. So I just want to say I felt tired watching them. But I agree with Sam. I wanted Adley Rutschman. I thought the switch hit was cool. I was really rooting for him. And then Luis Roberts kind of just ended that pretty quick, unfortunately, that little Cinderella. But that's just something as well I noticed a lot of, and Julio Rodriguez is the perfect example. We got to talk about him a little. 41 home runs, right? Nuts. It was just crazy how he knocked out Pete Alonso round one, crushed him.
Yeah.
And then you see
awesome.
round two, the fall off that he had. It's crazy how much these guys would fall off from one round to the next, And I would say maybe one that you weren't maybe necessarily expecting because of stamina, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., to kind of be more consistent than some of the other guys was probably a little surprising. But yeah, it was really fun to watch. It's a cool event for sure. And I felt tired watching them because I know how hard that is swinging a bat that much. So yeah, those are my initial thoughts.
It definitely got tiring a lot for most of the players, and you could see it because I watched it happen on live TV too. And Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who did end up winning the Derby, he actually, like, I'm pretty sure he stopped a few different times during like his batting and had to like take a breather because like taking 40 plus swings like with maximum effort trying to hit dingers is pretty crazy. So pretty cool to watch.
I want to real quick as well. And then you go, Matt. I know that they're tired, but maybe it's just because it was on TV. But when they're, they don't have as good of a round. their swing still looked pretty good to me, even though you could definitely tell the pop in the ball was way less. But like when they were swinging, they still looked good, like good swings to me. It didn't look tired necessarily, but I know that they were tired. But it looked like when I would see him swing, I was like, oh, that's a good swing. And then it'd be a pop up in the outfield, So that's something I noticed too, because I was like, oh, that looks like a good swing. And then it's, doesn't even get close to the fence. And I'm like, oh, so you can just tell obviously that the power isn't there, but it didn't look like it. At least they looked good pretty much every at bat, I'd say. So that's just something I noticed. I don't know.
Yeah, for me, I think you could notice it, and I have to talk about this a lot. When people got tired, it was a lot of like the lower body was kind of gone. Like you could tell like things weren't firing all at the same time. But overall, those dudes are just like different, man. Like just the amount of swings they take, and I mean the balls that they're getting right are probably, I don't know, maybe 20 or 30 miles an hour, like maybe, you know what I'm saying? And so you're having to really put a lot of power into each swing. Whereas whenever you're facing, 90 or 100-mile-per-hour fastballs, granted, harder to hit, but once you get just even decent contact, most of the time it's gone. So there's that for sure. I thought Julio Rodriguez, his first round was like electric, home crowd, does 41, most in the first round ever. That was cool. I thought Adley Rutschman was super fun, like going lefty and then righty. Like that's pretty impressive. But in the right-handed one, I think he went like 7 for 8 or 8 for 9. Like he only missed one. That wasn't a home run, which I was like, that's pretty impressive. And then you have Vladdy, who like, I think he beat Mookie in the first round, I think, which wasn't really that hard because Mookie only had like 11 or whatever. But then, like, he just kept chugging along, getting like 26, 27 each round. And that was enough to, eventually he beat a Rosarena, who I thought, great showman, of course, all that kind of good stuff. And it's fun because it's the first time ever that a father and son have both won a home run derby. So that's a pretty cool little, fact and tidbit. I thought that was all really cool and stuff. I enjoyed it. I always love watching the home run derby. It's pretty much the only baseball I watch until like, October Classic, pretty much, like, or the playoffs. It's pretty much the only baseball I watch, just because there's action like all the time. Granted, I will watch the Diamondbacks here and there, but they're not on TV as much over here in Utah, so it's a little harder. But overall, it was a good turn. It was a good thing. I know some people are like, man, like maybe the format needs to change, or some people's pictures aren't very good, so maybe we should do like a not an AI, but like a robot where you pitch the same thing each time to each guy. But honestly, I feel like that's the whole point of the home run derby and everything too. Is like not only do you have to be good enough to hit home runs, but then practice and use your, person who's throwing the ball has to be good too. So I kind of like it the way it is. I do wish sometimes though it would be like the NBA 3-point contest where instead of like you verse someone, it's whoever hits the most in the whole first round moves on. Like to me, I feel like that would be better. Just because you have guys like Adley Rutschman who hit 28 who would have moved on, except for the second best score was, I think, was Luis Jr. or whatever, right, with 29. So to me, there's some like, dang, it would have been fun to see Adley again. But other than that, it was really fun. So I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I texted Martin that as well after I think it was the Adley Rutschman round. I thought it should be top 4 move on, personally. I think I texted you that too, Sam. I think it should be top 4. I'm not sure why it's versus. I don't really like that format because I don't think it's very fair or very. I don't know. It's just I don't like it. I don't think it necessarily shows the skill maybe as much because you can get an opponent like Mookie Betts. And I know Mookie Betts bat second, so Vladdy obviously tried his best first round. But when you face someone who doesn't do as well, it doesn't necessarily maybe show. You don't have to maybe go as much, right? Instead of if it's top, it's only top 4, those guys are going to be going. as much as they can. And obviously then you can base it off 8 seed goes first, 7 second. And so if you're first, you have the advantage of knowing what you need to get, right as you move down the board. And so I agree with you on that, Matt. A point I wanted to make as well is MattyB Bets 11 home runs. And he obviously knew he didn't have a chance. That's what he kept saying, but his wife had convinced him to do it so that he said he could do it. And I was talking to about this, and I honestly didn't think Mookie would do good either. And then you look at his stats and you go 26 home runs, third in the whole league, and you're like, how's he not that good? And I'm like, he's more of a use the pitch power kind of home run guy, not when it's coming down 30 miles an hour and he's got to send it out. He's more of a, he gets the bat on the sweet spot, and the power of the pitch helps him get it out of there. And it was watching him perform reminded me of like probably how I would do at like one with a smaller field and an aluminum bat. Like I'd probably get like 11 in 3 minutes. So, and he didn't take a timeout either, which was nuts. He just kept swinging, which was really cool.
It was kind of weird to watch.
You could tell after his first few swings, you're like, there's no way, because his home runs they were not even that far. And then he had like 4 home runs, and after 1 minute, you're like, this isn't looking good. So I just wanted to bring that up as well about Mookie, but I'm glad he tried.
I remember Mookie, he never got a home run over 440 feet because you know how they had those like markers for bonus time if he did that. He never did that. And then I thought it was pretty weird to watch. I thought his stance looked so weird when he was hitting those home runs too. It didn't look anything like how any of the other competitors hit. Like, it's just kind of weird to visualize, because he had like his bat like straight up in the air almost. It didn't look like a real like efficient swing or anything like that. So you're probably right, Charles. He's definitely more of like you get the sweet spot on the bat kind of home run hitter. And the stat that they displayed about all the home runs he's hit in the first half of the season really surprised me too, because he's not a big dude. He's like 5'9". I think they said on TV he's like 165, 185. Really not like built for a really big athletic guy. So I'm surprised. Good for him for trying something new out though. I'll give him that.
Yeah. I think we also got to touch up a little bit more as well on the Julio 41 home runs round 1. Unreal.
I have some opinions on that though.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like here's the thing. Like obviously Unreal wants to put on a show, right? But you've seen guys barely hit like the 20s, like 28, 27, 26 mark. I feel like he was more putting on a show and stuff, but I feel like if he wanted to maybe more win, he should have stopped maybe at like 31, 33 range. You know what I'm saying? Like, granted, you have Pete Alonso behind you and stuff, but like, I don't know, if he hits more than like 35 home, like, 33, 34 home runs, you just tip your cap and say, hey, great job, whatever. So I feel like he almost basically wanted to get the record instead of win sometimes, because it looked like in that round against, I think it was Vladdy, where he was in the next round, he looked just like so gassed. Like after like the first minute, you could tell like he was just like gassed and like done. But that's my opinion. It's probably wrong, but that was my opinion. But I did think it was amazing, like just the effort. I think he had like 49 pitches and 41 of them were home runs or something like that. It was something ridiculous. I was like, what the heck?
Yeah, I think that's somewhat valid. I think the record was probably in his mind a little bit, but I think it's also just that home crowd. And it's like, if you just got to keep going, and just ride, because he was on fire. And like 100%. I said, it was just effortless. I mean, just home run after home run after home run. It didn't seem real, but yeah, I think you've got a little bit of a point there in terms of maybe going for the record instead of being more strategic about it. Of course, you never know what your opponent's going to do. So it's always like, if he were to like stop early, that might be a little bit of question, like, oh, why is he stopping early instead of just letting it play out? But I don't think that's necessarily, I think he still wanted to obviously win, but I don't think he maybe realized how much that first round would take out of him, because he was a totally different hitter in the second round. And I think another thing, too. And obviously, it contributed to his 41 home runs. He didn't take a single pitch. He swung at everything too. And so that's also going to add up. He was swinging at everything. And so I will admit the pitcher he had was pretty nice. He was giving him nice, consistent pitches. I think we got to give him credit too, because that's very important for these hitters to be successful. But yeah, like I said, that first round, I mean, it was a dream, but like it crashed pretty quick because of how he performed in the semifinals. And I'm sure I wanted him to win after that performance, after I knew Adley was gone too. And I was really disappointed. I'll say that. It was disappointing to see how he went out because it was not a good showing in the semis.
Me too.
No thoughts, Sam?
Yeah.
Oh, no thoughts. Head is empty right now.
I think Sam agrees, which is fine.
No, I
know,
would
like-
definitely, I definitely agree with that. And I agree with you too, Charles, and what you're saying about how it shouldn't be head-to-head matchups between each other. It should just be a board of 8 people, elimination style. The top 4 make it, and then the bottom 4 don't get in, because that is kind of BS. If you face a guy like MattyB Bets and he only hits home runs, then that's an easy second round move. But if you're Adley Rutschman, you know, and you play against a jacked Luis Robert, you're kind of screwed, you know. I mean, Adley, I'm pretty sure he hit like 20, 25, 26, 27 home runs. Yeah, I feel like if you hit 27 home runs, that should be good enough at least to make the second round.
Well, it would have been if you take the top 4, because the top 4 in that round would have been Julio, Roberts, right, from the Chicago.
Yeah.
Adley Rutschman, and then Rosarena was last with 26.
Yep.
Right, top as in last as
That's
in
about right.
4.
Yeah, like the top 4.
You know what I'm saying? Because then the next was 25 for the was it the Guardians guy? The one who is Rosarena's friend. And then
Adolis Garcia.
Adolis Garcia, thank you. Sorry, I forgot his name. Adolis Garcia. Pete Alonso had, I think it was 22 or 23. MattyB Bets had 11. And then who was the other guy that was in it?
Who you you're trying to find who else was in it?
Yeah, I forget who would have been the bottom 4.
Pete Alonso? Did you mention
I
him?
already said Pete Alonso.
Already. Mookie was definitely the lowest count.
Yeah.
I don't know, you might have named them all already.
I might have.
I think you might have. I can't think of any others.
Yeah, I might have. Whoops, my bad. So.
But yeah, no. I'm surprised how much Pete Alonso kind of choked at that too. I mean, he did have a lot of pressure going into it, I guess, because he did face Julio, and he definitely had the home crowd cheering towards him. But he's usually the home run derby guy. I'm kind of surprised he just fell off so quickly.
I mean, after you see 41,
That's true.
You're kind of like,
But, I mean, but if you do remember in the announcing, they did say that Pete Alonso's original one, who he won in back-to-back, couldn't make it because he had something with his arm
yeah, that
or
is a fair
something.
point.
And then his second one, who he was going to go with, ended up doing something as well. Like he either got sick or something. So then this is his third person, right? And so if you haven't built up that rapport, it kind of, you know, especially with that many pitches and all that kind of stuff. So I do think there's some of that as well. But when you do see 41 and you're like, for me, even out 41, I've been like, yeah, okay. I'm probably going to be out. You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah. I would say one last thing that we should talk about. But if you guys have anything else, of course, bring it up. But I want to also talk about the finals between Rosarena and Vladdy.
Yeah.
Any initial thoughts off of that? Obviously, Sam, you'd mentioned Randy choked.
I thought it was a good final because it came down to the last seconds, you know, like all that kind of stuff. And honestly, 2 good personalities. I think Rosarena is fun. Vladdy is fun. So I don't know. I kind of like both. Like Rosarena was so close, you know, and it was good that he was the last one to go because he had to try to the very end. Whereas, you know, Vladdy said, I think it was like 25 or 26. And I think Rosarena got like 25, right? So I thought it was a good final.
Yeah, no, I thought it was fun too. Randy definitely looked a little gassed, especially after hitting like 50 plus home runs in the earlier rounds. But yeah, no, it was pretty awesome to watch. I'm happy for Vladdy at least. This is like his fourth home run derby, it feels like. He's finally won one. And it's really cool to see too that he's the first father-son duo to win home run derby too. So happy for him.
Yeah, that's cool. Vladimir Guerrero, the father, is in my backyard baseball game. So I've known about
Yes,
his game
sir.
for a while, to be
2003.
honest, because I played that game a ton as a kid. But going to the finals, yeah, it looked like I mean, obviously Vladdy had a pretty solid number, 25. That feels, pretty okay for the home run derby, especially round 3. I think that's actually pretty good for the
Oh
finals.
yeah.
And then Arozarena was off to a pretty tough start before his timeout. He only had 8, maybe. I can't remember exactly, 7 or 8, and already about half the time had gone. So it wasn't looking great. Plus, you knew he wasn't getting that 440 bonus because he hadn't hit any really that close to it. And then the second, you're kind of thinking, this might be it, and then he comes out and you can tell they're just going for quality at this point, kind of sneaking him over. And he gets pretty hot and he gets up to 21. So he gets like 12 or 13 in that last minute and a half or however many it was, 12, 13, 14. And then he's only down 4 with 30. And you're thinking, wow, he actually has a chance. So it got really exciting. And I thought he might have it because some of his swings and the balls, the launch angle and all that, it looked good. And some of those ones with his 30 seconds left, but they ended up being short, and then obviously ended up losing. But like Matt said, it came down to those last pitches, so it was a fun finish. Yeah. I wanted Randy to win because he was a former Cardinal, and then Sam texted me that he choked, and then I proceeded to say, well, it's because of that Cardinal blood in him. So I wasn't shocked.
ESPN made it a point to show up that him and Adolis were both in the Cardinals minor league system. Right, both of them away. So we were barely even in the All-Star weekend, and we took 2 L's in one night.
Sorry, Sam.
And speaking of Cardinals and their L's, this is a great way to talk about our second half MLB season predictions. And I think we start off with the Cardinals. Are they going to be the cellar dweller of the NL Central, or are they going to, I don't know, maybe make a run?
Well,
the floor is yours, Sam.
Mo definitely made it clear. I believe it was on like a Cardinals Insider podcast interview. They were talking with him about it. If you guys don't know, Mo is the owner of the Cardinals. He's the president, and he basically makes all the big boy decisions for the Cardinals. And yeah, we've sucked all season. There's no turning back now. We're absolutely done. I think he made a good point that the Cardinals just need to be sellers during trade deadline. We just need to clean the slate for this whole season and try to pick it up. Try to pick it back up next season. I'm a little scared as a diehard Cardinals fan to see which players he's going to trade away, because there's a lot of really likable players in this team. Now, granted, a lot of them aren't doing very well this season. I would be perfectly fine if they just blew up the entire bullpen, made Waino retire, keep Jordan Montgomery, but you can throw everyone else away. But I really hope he doesn't do too much of a shakeup towards the position players. Like, I would be crushed if he trades like Goldie or Arenado away, or even like Tyler O'Neill. I love Tyler O'Neill. He's not that great, but I want to keep him on our team. So I'm very nervous to see how we do in these next upcoming weeks. Our season's definitely done. We're not making the playoffs. We're probably going to stay bottom 4, bottom 3 in the National League, in the MLB even. But yeah, hopefully Mo's got some good tricks up his sleeves to save us for next season. And yeah, they like to joke that I've just jumped the bandwagon at this point, but I don't know. It's just hard being sad.
I got to bring something up while we're on the Cardinals. So you don't want them to trade Arenado or Goldie, right?
Mm-hmm.
But how do you necessarily expect them to reload if what you want them to trade away maybe isn't, are you going to get a lot, you think, for the bullpen?
Yeah.
Your bullpen's been bad.
Here's my thing for the Cardinals. They're saying, hey, we're sellers. Who would you sell? Because some of the players that you have, I would not want.
Dog water.
Just being honest. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
You're complete dog water.
I get what you're saying. One player that does
Like to me, the only people that have value are Arenado and Goldschmidt. Those are the only
Oh,
people so
definitely.
far that have a value. So like it's like okay,
And they have good value to
Yeah,
at that
that's
too. So
yeah,
yeah.
that's kind of what scares me because of like the chance of trading one of those two players away. You probably get so much for them, but I mean, as a fan standpoint, I would hate to see Goldie in like a Diamondbacks jersey. That would look pretty gross, I think.
He already
But
has a Diamondback
yeah,
jersey, bro.
I know. I'm just freaking around. But
I would love if we got Goldschmidt, but we have Christian Walker, so we don't really need
that
him
is true.
anymore.
You guys have Christian Walker.
Hmm.
But one player that does actually come to mind that I would be perfectly happy with trading with, and the Cardinals aren't they don't have very good ties with them either. We probably wouldn't be able to get a lot of value from him, but Paul DeYoung, he is our shortstop. He's still pretty young. I think he's like 25, 26 years old. He's very smart. Uh, he's an okay hitter. He's an okay defenseman. Uh, it would just be a lot better if he moves to a different team. We really don't need him. Like we have Tommy Edman. I could probably see the team ending up trading Tommy Edman too, just for how like versatile of a player he is. But I would love to see Dion go. I mean, it would suck to see Edmund go, but I could see it. Lars Nootbaar, I mean, he's an awesome personality, but he might have to go to Brendan Donovan. He's an amazing 5-tool player, but we might have to get rid of him too. Really, anything it takes to make us actually decent next season. Just please don't trade Nolan Arenado away. Like, he is the man. Just don't trade that guy away.
hey, real quick, just shout out to ESPN because they gave grades for all 30 teams after the first half, and the Cardinals got a big fat F.
Yeah, of course
And
he
then the
did.
description or whatever, the first thing is like, "What the heck happened?"
What happened?
I mean,
that
obviously
James
the
Rod,
bullpen's
you
a
know?
disaster,
What
but
happened?
you look at this,
Cardinals?
you look at the
What
roster still, and I'm like,
happened?
how are they this bad? Like they've
Yeah,
got talent.
no
You blame
clue.
it all on Contreras, which I don't know. That's obviously important because if the bullpen sucks, you're not going to win much. And you blame
Right,
him for a lot of
that's still
the
true. Yeah,
calls that he makes, the pitch
the
calls. But
the Contreras move has definitely not turned out the way we've wanted it to be. It might have been an inside job even because Contreras used to be a Cub, and he probably hates us. So
that's
he's
funny.
probably happy that we're doing so bad.
Hmm. All right, Matt. D-backs now. Let's go to you.
Let's just say we're on the opposite end of the spectrum when it came to the ESPN thing. We got a big fat A. So I was pretty happy about that. We kind of limped into the All-Star break, which I was a little pissed about. Our bullpen keeps like giving away games. So I think that's something that we're going to address. And then if we can just get one more quality starting pitcher outside of Merrill Kelly and Zach Gallen, I feel like we are legit like World Series contenders, I would say. Um, I'm pretty happy. I mean, we're tied for first with the Dodgers. So if you would say, hey, if you would have told me before the season started, hey, at the All-Star break, you'll be tied with the Dodgers, would you take it? I'd say absolutely yes. Don't even care if that means that we were as bad as the NL Central or AL Central and it's like, just barely above 500. I'd be like, yeah, I don't care. It's super good. Um, but it's looking like we might at least, if we don't win the division, that's okay. We'll at least hopefully be a wild card team. So I'm pretty happy about that. Um, yeah, I mean, I think we're gonna be more buyers than sellers at the deadline. And the thing is, our farm system, I believe, is ranked like number, I think 6 or number 5. I know it dropped down from like, I think we're like number 2 because of Corbin Carroll. But then when he got put in the majors, it dropped down a little bit. Um, but we still have good pieces and stuff. So I mean, I know there's been a name floating around like Marcus Stroman because he's like I think 1 year left in his deal has been kind of floating around. Like I think he's too expensive. But if for some reason and somehow we got Marcus Stroman, like thinking about that, Marcus Stroman, Zach Gallen, and Merrill Kelly, like I'd be way okay with that as like a big 3 rotation.
That would be pretty
Okay,
good.
okay.
definitely the team
So,
to beat right now in the National League too is the Braves. So
oh, 100%. I think the
yeah,
Braves, I mean, they're so good, dude.
yeah, whatever. I mean, just whatever you have to do to beat the Braves at this point. Like they're pretty far and away. They're becoming the best team in the league, and it's kind of crazy to see, especially with all like the young talent that they have. They have like signed it to like at least 2026 too. They have a dynasty in the making.
Oh,
Real
they
quick
really do.
before because that's a good transition into other predictions and maybe some MattyB bets. What if
Ooh,
the
true.
Diamondbacks got something like a Nolan Arenado to really beef up the
Oh,
offense?
I mean, you
no way.
do.
I'm
The
just saying
thing
that
is,
because
the third
You're
base
trying to
is a
rile me
need.
up.
Well, third base is a need for the Diamondbacks, like for sure. If for some reason, I think he's too expensive as well.
yeah, he
But
would be.
let's just say we got Nolan Arenado. I mean, if we could keep the whole core pretty much, and we could have Perdomo, Ketel Marte, Christian Walker, Nolan Arenado, and then we have, I think it's Carson Kelly or Gerald Moreno as a catcher. That's a pretty stacked infield, and then you keep your outfield of Guerrero Jr., Jake McCarthy or Alec Thomas, and then Corbin Carroll. Like that's a pretty good lineup. Like it's hard to get outs. You know what I'm saying? And Arenado would definitely add that punch to help Christian Walker out with that kind of stuff. So that would be very interesting.
I think if that happens, Sam might quit the podcast.
I might have to. Yeah,
He almost exploded
that
when
would
I
be
said
pretty
that.
bad. That would be pretty bad. At least, I mean, I guess we could take this punishment for how well last season treated us with Pujols and Wayno and Yachty all coming back together and riding into the sunset. I think the first red flag, the glaring red flag before the season even started, was Wayno saying that he wanted to come back for his grandpa season and actually just stink up the whole
Well,
place.
and real
Rookie
quick, don't get ahead of yourself. You said right off into the sunset, but they literally choked against the Phillies in the wild card, and the Phillies stole their postseason or their magic, I guess, and ran it all the way to the World
I guess
Series. That
that's true.
should have been you guys.
It really should have been us. That'd be amazing to see if it was us, but the Phillies turned out to be World Series contenders. So I mean,
Yeah.
I wasn't too mad at the time. They're a really good team.
Well, World Series contenders, you know,
Another transition?
I mean, and I would say stuff like division leaders are
Well,
pretty big World Series
wow,
contenders.
That was a reach, Travis.
wow,
That was a
that
reach.
was a good one. No, shut up, Sam. You're not
I
even.
Those
didn't.
are
I
those
You're
are
didn't
just
know.
you're just mad. You're just
Um,
mad. The
those are
Cardinals
when
suck.
you win the division, you're a pretty big World Series contender, I would say. Or so, and I
maybe.
know we got someone over here who's done some research on some bets on who's going to win divisions and whatever else he wants to get into involving the second half of
Mm-hmm.
the season. MattyB Bets,
So
take it away. What are you
Matty B
liking?
Matty B Bets is back, and I'm going to tell you some really good opportunities. So this is all off of FanDuel. So for those of you who can place bets, I'm using the FanDuel odds, so it could be different depending on what you use. To me, it seems like FanDuel is the best one, so that's why I use them. Anyways, we are not sponsored by FanDuel, but it would be cool. Anyways, off of that.
In there.
The AL Central is really interesting because I think the Twins are above the Guardians by I think it's a game and a half or 2 games, something like that. But right now, the current odds for the Twins is minus 185, which you're like, okay. But the Cleveland Guardians is plus 145. So that could be a little bit of a bet to go in on. Like, nope, I want to go with the Guardians, right? I think that one's a coin flip, and I do think the Guardians do have a better team than the Twins. They just have to get their crap together. Tampa Bay is at minus 250 for AL East. I think that's pretty much locked up. Interesting one is the Rangers are at minus 110. Houston is at plus 100. That one I think could go either way. If you just want a little bit of a betting, I'd say do that. Now the NL Central, you have plus 100 for Milwaukee, plus 125 for Cincinnati Reds. So basically, if you put a bet on any of the NL Central teams to win the division, you will make money. So that's a pretty good little division to bet on. So that's pretty fun, pretty exciting. Me personally, I'd pick the Reds just because I don't trust the Brewers. So the Reds I would pick. So that's not bad. Atlanta Braves are at minus, is that 20,000? That is 20,000 to win the division. So unless you want to make $100, basically bet 200, bet 20,000 on Atlanta. The NL West, though, I think this is the best value. I think this is the best value. The Dodgers are at minus 340 to win the division. However, the team who has led the most in the NL West this year, the Diamondbacks, are at plus 460 to win the division.
Ooh,
So
that's pretty
if
good.
if you do believe in the D-backs, which I think I do. I mean, granted, I'm a fan, but their team is pretty dang good. Plus 460. That's not a bad one to take a flyer on. So
Mm.
if I could bet, which I'm in Utah you can't.
Oh,
I think in Texas you can bet, but not on FanDuel. I wish you could. But if I could, I would take that Diamondbacks one because it's plus 460 for them to win the division, and they're already, right there.
that's
So
that's pretty good. Yeah,
yeah,
I
I was looking through
definitely
that and I was like, dang, that might be
be a
it.
deep
The
pick.
disrespect. And it's probably good right now before if they do make a buy trade and they become
Exactly.
the odds go down because then they've got someone that could really help
Exactly.
them.
Like let's say they did get for some reason a Marcus Stroman, right? Might push them to maybe plus 200 or plus 100. You know what I'm saying? So very interesting. Now, when it comes to the league winners, aka what's it called? Like NL Championship, AL Championship. Right now, the Braves are the Rays for the AL are at plus 210. Houston at plus 440. Same with the Rangers. I like any of those teams. If it's hard to get a bet against Houston, especially in the playoffs. So I'd probably put money on them if I'm going to be honest. I'd put money on the Astros to win the American League. You get plus 440. That's pretty nice. Now the NL, it's a two-horse race between the Braves and the Dodgers. You still make money if the Braves win plus 145. Dodgers is plus 210. But then you have some other teams that are kind of nice. The Diamondbacks and Phillies are at plus 1200 to win. So that could be a little interesting. And the Giants and Marlins are at plus 1400 and plus 2000 respectively. If I was a betting man in the National League, I would have to put money on the Braves, unfortunately. But then American League, I would do Houston Astros. Um, and then for the World Series odds, I know this is a lot for people, but World Series, the Braves are the best at plus 360, Tampa at plus 450, Dodgers at plus 480, Rangers at 1,000, Houston at 1,000. Braves at 360 is not bad, and this is as of right now. So I assume as you get closer and closer to the World Series, the number goes down, right? Plus 360 is pretty nice for the Braves. And I think that one is probably your best one. I mean, Tampa at 450 could be nice. It's just if you think they're gonna, keep it up. So, anyways, those are some fun ones. And then one more. So, like I said, so for World Series, I'd pick Braves. American League, I would do Houston for the value, and then Braves because they're probably Sherlock. Division winner is the most intriguing one. Diamondbacks at plus 460. I think that one is at more of a toss than people think. So I would definitely do that one. And then when it comes to player awards, there was one that I thought was kind of fun. They do popular parlays, so it's like two things in one. You have Ronald Acuna Jr. to win NL MVP and Spencer Strider to win NL Cy Young at plus 410. Acuna's kind of a lock into getting that. So Spencer Strider might be the one you have to bet on, right? But the other one is Corbin Carroll to win NL Rookie of the Year, which is pretty much a guarantee. And then Zach Gallen to win NL Cy Young. And he just started the All-Star game. And that one's plus 330. So I know that he's been a lot of Diamondback totals, but it seems like people still have a lot of faith in them a little bit. So if you really do believe in them, which I do, you potentially could make a decent amount of money just betting the Diamondback lines. But the Acuna Jr. one is kind of fun. The other one that I think is kind of interesting that would be is the NL Cy Young, and that one you have Gallon at 250, Strider at 310, Kershaw at 440, and the rest are above 1,000. So I think one of those three guys would definitely win it. And yeah, I don't know. It's just very it's very interesting. And then I guess if you didn't like Corbin Carroll for National League Rookie of the Year, Ellie De La Cruz is at plus 280, and then the next player, the third best player, is Matt McLean at plus 3,900. So
So
there you go.
what's Corbin Carroll's odds for NL Rookie of the Year?
Minus 360.
I think the De La Cruz one could be intriguing if he keeps
The
up
plus
this
280?
pace. If he keeps up this pace, yeah, I think it could be close. But he has played way less games, so that's a big consideration.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing too, is like, can he catch up? Especially with Corbin Carroll doing what he's doing, it's like, it's kind of hard. You know what I'm saying?
I think for a value standpoint, though, I think it's definitely one that would make sense.
Oh, definitely for value. Like if you're trying to say, hey, I mean, because betting is betting, right? Like you try to make it big. Like what if Corbin Carroll, for some reason, because he's had some arm stuff, what if for some reason the next couple games he actually does something to his arm and he's out the rest of the season? Then I think Ellie De La Cruz is your new favorite, right? And if you're like, oh man, I put $1,000 on this thing, you're like, oh man, I could be winning a lot more than what I thought, right? So, but that's where betting gets you down the rabbit hole, and people do need to be careful with all that stuff. So we're just doing this for fun. If you guys want to bet, great.
Disclaimer.
Do not take our advice. This is a disclaimer. We hope no one gets addicted to gambling, but it is fun to look at the numbers and just think like, oh man, what could happen for this? What could happen for that? So
real quick,
it's fun to look at the numbers. I'll say that.
Sam, do you want to go ahead and write down Matt's bets again? That his favorites,
Oh,
what he liked, because we did it. I remember we did it for the NBA stuff, and so far I'm hoping for redemption. But I remember his NBA ones, like the Celtics Heat specifically. Matt was not on it. He got like all of them wrong for Game 5 or something. I remember.
I did.
No.
So we're hoping for redemption. Do you want to write down we can do it off camera. We don't have to do it right now.
Oh,
We can do it off camera.
Yeah, I can do it off camera.
Yeah,
but
we can definitely do it off camera, and we'll see how much money we could have won or could have lost.
Say like Matt had like 10 imaginary dollars to bet on those NBA lines.
Yeah,
we're bankrupt now. We just don't have any money.
I remember when he did a free bet thing on Sleeper, and Terry got 1 yard under what he needed for over, and he didn't win or whatever. He just lost it.
Didn't you make the first line, but then you bet it all again, and then you lost?
No, I made the first line. It was a parlay. I made the first line, and it was like Dalvin Cook rushing over 100 yards, which I got.
Yeah, that's what it was.
The second one was Terry McLaurin over 49.5 yards, and he got like 49 yards. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Yeah. And I put the over. I was like, well, all right.
That is pretty bad. That's why,
that's why we say, and this is why gambling is addictive, and you can lose a lot of money because you're like, oh man, I was half yard away. Maybe I could do it this right. So we're doing this for fun. We usually bet imaginary dollars, but it is fun to look and see what we like. So, anyways, that is my MattyB Bets for the MLB.
Very good. You deserve applause from me. I like that.
Give him a real clap then. Like this. There we go.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought those were good. I think the Diamondbacks are a good value. I think they're a little slept on.
I agree. That was a really good line for the
D-backs. I think that's a great line.
Yeah, and I know and I'm sorry for all the listeners. I know we talk about the Diamondbacks a lot just because big Diamondbacks fan, they're doing well. But just at the value and stuff, it feels like they're still not getting as respected as they should this late into the season, because we're over halfway through the season. You know what I'm saying? We're already over halfway, and it's still they've been in the lead, but because the Dodgers caught up, the Dodgers are the favorite. It's oh man. So anyways, we can now conclude. But anyways, thank you everyone for listening to MattyB's Bets. Happy to be back. Awesome.
It felt good. It felt like a good topic for you to do MattyB Bets on. So
for sure.
What can I say? I dabble.
One last thing, real quick, Sam. Did you have any other second half MLB thoughts you wanted to share about anything? Just, I feel like you only really talked about the Cardinals, and that was it. So I don't know if you had anything you wanted to say.
Pretty much only the Cardinals. Like, really, honestly, I haven't paid too much attention into the season just because the Cardinals have been so bad. Usually, year after year, I would at least pay a little bit of attention because the Cardinals would always be somewhat in contention. But I hope all the young stars are gonna keep up and do really good. Hopefully, everyone stays healthy. I'm still really excited. I'm not biased or anything, but I really want to see the Orioles keep up and how well they're doing. I really love the young team up and coming, and for as long as I remember the Orioles, they were a garbage, like worst team in the league team. They did make the wild card in 2015, I believe, and 2016, but recently they were garbage. So it's awesome to see them do good. Hopefully the Diamondbacks keep doing good too. It's awesome to see Corbin Carroll and the whole squad good too. Yeah, hopefully it just ends up as a fun season.
All right, sweet. Episode 23. A win is a win.
Yes.
Podcast.
Win is a win.
Don't worry. I got you, Sam.
My bad, everyone. My bad, everyone. That's on me.
Yeah,
when you listen back to it and
Matt.
you realize how you said it, because like you said, you didn't even realize you said you're gonna be like, oh no.
Bro, I was just so confident. I just like went into it. I was like, let's go. I nailed this intro. Like, this is my intro. And then you're like,
Yeah,
like,
when you see us make a face, you go, wait, what? And then
I know.
we have
I
to
was
tell
like, man,
you.
I'm the
Yeah.
biggest dummy out here. But hey,
It
a win's a win,
happens.
you know?
That's all right.
Yeah, win is a win.
That's all right.
Episode 23. We hope you guys enjoy. As Sam said, you can expect the movie Monday coming out next Monday. So that'll be fun. We're not gonna obviously say the movie. You guys will see it then. But make sure to follow us Spotify, Apple, YouTube, all that good stuff. You can watch or listen to this podcast on any of those platforms. And so, yeah, H double, Sam Cookie, MattyB. We're heading out.
Peace.
A win is a win.
Peace, everybody.